Everyone, welcome. This is Angela Coulter, your consciousness transformation guide and originator of Trinity Energy Progression, bringing you this week's Living the Shift. And I am so excited to bring my very good friend on this week, Ann McKenzie. Say hi, Ann.
Hey,
Because this is the topic we're going to be talking about is living, like what living in abundance truly is about. And you know what? I talk about Anne all the time. Even if I don't mention her name, I'll talk about my friend who does this and my friend who does that, because she is such a great example of finding abundance within herself and really like learning how to live what that is. And what we really know, and Anne can attest to this, is that abundance has very little to do with actual like dollars and cents. Why don't you talk about that a little bit, Anne?
okay. Well, I think what she's referred to is I was married for 17 years, and my husband died 16 years ago. So 4 years later, I decided to retire with a 12-year-old son and move back to Raleigh, my hometown, which is pretty scary because I'm trying to raise a child with a retirement income and and go from there. But I just decided I had to do it to live my life, and I would just change my spending and whatever. And it's been fine. There have been some tough times, but a door always opens. And so,
Well, and the point that I like to share about you and and about some of the stuff that we've talked about is you are in so many ways one of the most abundant people I know, because here's the thing, you get free things all the time. Like you always, I remember going to those like business meetings, you'd always win raffles and everything else and be like, all right, Ann, that's somebody else every once in a while. Like every time you go to these events and you're always like, oh, I won the raffle for this, so I won the raffle for that. Or, here's the thing, we get so stuck and like the point is this, and this is what I want to talk about today. We have so many, like there's so many workshops and so many classes on abundance, and they're all focused on money, right? So money
mhm.
is part of abundance, but what people don't realize is abundance is a much broader energy than just money, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
definitely agree.
And the thing is, really the energy of that comes from inside of our heart and inside of like being able to live our passion and freeing ourselves to allow ourselves the space to do what we love to do. And then the rest of it seems to fall in place. And the less we actually put our attention, right, on the dollars and cents and what that number actually is, the more it actually just sort of works out, right?
Yeah, well, I think if you focus your intention on your true passion, and that's the trick, trying to find out what you're truly passionate about, which takes a lot of insightful work and energy work. And you don't, if you don't do energy, it's fine, but just sort of going inside yourself and quieting your mind. But if you really follow your heart, you attract people to you. And if you're in business or whatever, like I'm now a wedding officiant. I started with 2 weddings in 2015, and this is 4 years later in 2019, and I have 50 weddings. So it sort of just depends on your mindset. And also, whenever I've had tight times as far as financial, I don't worry about it. I just say, I know I can do something to create this. And I just go inside and try to figure out a way to do it.
And you sort of let it go, because so many
Yeah.
times you've had
Yeah.
stories where like, oh my God, look at what came up, or look at how this happened, or you know,
Hmm.
um, how many times I've talked to you, and you've been like, oh yeah, I would really love to have a vacation right now, and then like within like a month, oh so and so said I could use their timeshare, and I'm going here, and I'm like, you're always like, basically you just manifest whatever it is that you sort of desire, which is really what abundance is about, and
Right.
coming to the energy, I think, of trusting that the universe always has your back, even if it looks a little wonky at the moment, right?
Yeah. And that's true in health issues too. I don't know if you want to get into that yet, so I'll let you decide. But
Just
that's
tell,
been true for some health issues I've had.
yeah, yeah. And you've had some wonky ones there too that just sort of come up, and then you deal with them and you move on.
Yeah, not your everyday stuff.
Right, right. And abundance, like it's funny, abundance is really what we make of it because we can also choose to have an abundance of problems too. And that's what we don't realize
Oh,
is,
God,
no, I
don't
mean,
choose that.
no, I know. And so many talk about like, oh, well, you know, um, like, oh, I'm so old, I'm so sick, I'm so this, I'm so
Yep.
decrepit, I don't have any money. Like, yeah, sure, there's an abundance there because there's an abundance of negativity, there's abundance of lack. So, the thing is to say, you know what, I am provided. When we can say I am provided everything that I am, that I could possibly need or want in the moment. And then we let go of it and let it, like and trust it. Like you don't even like, so funny, like you say things. And that's why I always laugh when you trip yourself up and you start thinking about something and you're like, oh, I don't know about this. And I'm like, Ann, you are the best manifester, one of the best manifestors I have ever met.
Well, I mean, I think partly is because I believe the good in everybody. Maybe I'm naive, but I do. And I just look for the positive. And I mean, there's a lady I met only a couple of times, and she's texted me three or four, five, six times to come to Seattle and stay with them. And I've always wanted to go up to Washington State, and I keep saying, okay, well, we're gonna figure it out. But we really only spent maybe 4 hours together, and she is serious about this. And I keep saying, okay, Eric, when are we going? So, and that's true. I mean, we just took a trip to Florida, and we stayed with four different friends, and it was great. And we've been out to Palm Springs, stayed with his brother. So it's just, if you want to do something, sometimes you just ask.
Well, and many people don't realize that. We're like, oh, I would love to, instead of I want to, though. Excuse me. And that's a really good point, too, is it's important in creating consciously for us to watch our words because when we say I want something, it's pretty much telling the universe you're in want of it if you talk about law of attraction stuff. But but when you're like, I would love to do this, I would love to go on vacation, I would love to go to this place, or I would love to do this, and just let it go with that little giggle that you just had. It's like I would love to do that, and you just trust it's going to come to you, and it does.
It's,
And
it's
I
true. It's
it took
true.
me it took me a while and it took me getting beaten over the head for a while, like financially, years ago, to change my entire mindset around like, okay, if I have this money, then I'll do this because that's what many of us do. If I have this amount of money in the bank, I'll do this. If I have, if I'm at this point, I'll do this instead of saying I would love to do this and I'm going to let the universe conspire to have it happen, you know. And when we truly allow that to happen, it's amazing the magic that comes in that allows it to happen. Like I said with you, it's so funny. It's like, oh, Anne won this week, and Anne got this, and this person invited her here, and she went there. And the more and wouldn't you say that the more that you do it, the easier it is?
Yes, I would. And it's to me just if there's something you really feel passionate about and you just say, I know this can happen, and I'm here to receive it and to work for whatever I need, but I know it can happen and I'm open to it. You have to really truly believe in your heart and in your mind that it can happen, and then miracles do happen.
Every day, every day.
Yeah, yeah, it's
I
true.
and the other thing that I always tell people is always allow with all possibilities, right?
Yes,
Like how it's going to manifest. Like 'cause you can many times not even like some of the things that have come up. I know for you as well as for me over the years, it's like if I tried to like anticipate what that was supposed to be, it would have been it would have been like so limited, right? But it was like,
yeah,
oh well, look at that. I mean, how many times I've had a check just show up in the mailbox like, whoa, yeah, to pay for this trip or to pay for this or whatever.
yeah,
Because you sort of put it out there. Or if something comes up and like you're saying, like people invite you to something or they offer you something, and like those are all kinds of living in abundance. And it's allowing yourself to say, I'm worthy of this, I'm worthy of being taken care of, and I'm worthy of having fun in this life. And it doesn't matter if I make $5 a year or $5 million a year, because I know just as many people who are making like have a ton of money in the bank and they don't live in abundance.
Yes, I do too. And one of the biggest examples to me is I spent 35 years in clinical lab, but I've been doing energy work since the 80s. And Angela pushed me to start an energy healing business, which I did not want to do. I went kicking and screaming, but I finally came out of the spiritual closet. She helped me set up a website, and I posted on Facebook that I became ordained in North Carolina, to do energy work. If you want to touch somebody, you need to be a minister or a massage therapist. So I became ordained. And then people started asking me to marry them. And this was when I first started my energy healing business. Well, that has taken off, and I never even thought about marrying people. I was like, what? Marry people? But they changed the laws in North Carolina to allow LGBT weddings, and I felt passionate about doing that. So I said, well, I'll give it a try. And now it's from a major sources of income, and I love it. So thank you, Angela, for pushing me to get out of my comfort zone. And I just let it go. I said, okay, I don't know how to do this stuff. I don't know how to do this business, but I'm going to try it. What's gonna happen if I don't try it? I'll just be in the same place next year. So I said, what?
How many conversations did you and I have that ended up with both of us laughing of like, well, what's the worst that could happen, right? It could just flub up and you don't like it and you move to something else, like so what,
That's
right?
right. That's right. And I thank you because I've always worked for somebody else until doing that, and it's been a blessing. It's the most fun I've ever had working.
Yeah, and that, and see, and that's great. That's another thing too, because when we live from that place where we trust that the universe has our back, right? We allow ourselves like to open ourselves to possibilities we might not have done before, right? So I don't know why I was guided to, like in whatever sessions I work with people or whatever. It's like I don't know why I'm guided to say this or encourage something or whatever. And when you came around to this, it was funny, like, oh wow, this is like so perfect for your personality because you are great with people, you love life, you love celebration and love, and what a better place to embody than as a minister and getting to marry people in those kind of situations.
Yeah, and I do have a fear of public speaking, but I got over it. I mean, I thought I don't know if I can do this or not, but I decided to focus on the couple because I knew they were nervous, and I quit thinking about me and started thinking about them, and I actually could do it. And honestly, when I first started, I wasn't sure I could. And my first wedding was 150 people, and it went well. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm doing this.
Yeah,
So, but I had never in my life thought of doing something like this ever.
right. So often we don't even know consciously how that will manifest. And that does tie into abundance because we sit there and go, oh, well, I can't do what I love or I can't allow myself to find my passion because how am I going to support myself? How am I going to do this? And it's like we get stuck in the dollars and cents before we get to that place of, well, what could it be? And then I think a lot of times we cut off the possibilities because we're like, oh, I can't make money. Or, and then we have the underlying worthiness issues of, well, am I worthy? Like, who am I to do this and make money doing it versus all the 5,000 other people or 5 million other people who've been like, for years and years and years. And there again, when we talk about abundance, it's coming to this place of realizing it's not like you're taking it away from somebody else. It's that there's so much, like we create it and there's so much abundance for everybody. So of course you can do it in whatever way that's perfect for you. And like we said when you first started doing the wedding, that it's like the people who will do the best with you are going to be attracted to you, right?
Right.
And like any other business too. And when you're in that place of abundance to say, there's plenty of work for everybody, there's plenty of money for everybody to go around, there's plenty of abundance for everyone. And I'm just going to allow it to manifest in the way that it really gels with my passion and my heart and my joy. Let me just see what that looks like. Like, just be, and then I said things like, well, just give me the conscious clarity on how to do it. Like, I always talk about, I would have never, if somebody put a list of careers in front of me, um, like, before I ever started doing this work, I would have never chosen this, like, as something that I thought that I would love to do. right? Because first
Yep.
of all, there were worthiness issues. There was all kind of stuff out of work here, and it was my higher self that kicked me in the butt, right? So, but I just allowed it, and I was like, okay, let's just see, and it's like the best thing I've ever done. So we had a couple of comments. We have Gloria saying good morning, Angela and good morning, Gloria, and then Michelle Sauber says, oh, I love seeing the two of you together.
Who was that? Michelle. Yeah.
Michelle Sauber.
Yeah, and also, with abundance, I mean, there are times, you have to, it's a daily practice, just like meditation, and we all have times where we're sort of feel like a little lack, but you just have to say, nope, there's plenty for everybody, and I deserve everything I get, and just honestly believe that. And if you do that, and just like taking a leap of faith, this career choice scared me, but I thought, okay, well, so what? I won't tell you how old I am, but I'm not a spring chicken. And I said, well, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. So let's go ahead and get started.
Why not now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And so, and like I said, and the thing is, what I say? So if you don't like it, then you can just stop. Like, what? Then you do something else. Like it's.
But
You
if you
get.
never
Go
if you
ahead.
never take a chance, then you never know. And so you can live they say when people are ready to leave this physical plane, that they never talk about the things they did. They talk about the things they wish they did,
Yeah.
the things
Yeah.
they missed, the missed opportunities, the regrets. So don't have any regrets. When I leave here, I want to go out kicking and screaming like, I got more to do. Don't take me out of here.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
want to learn something new every day.
Well, and there's there's so many kinds of abundance, right? So like when we look at what we do, right? There is an abundance, especially now more than ever. There is this abundance of possibilities of how you can manifest your passion in
Right.
all these different kinds of ways. Like I keep on meeting a bunch of people, and I see that Sarah Vignoni is on here, but like her and there's like a bunch of people I've met during my move, and they're doing the same thing where like they're taking their energy and passion and they're finding like old pieces of furniture, right? And like the way they all explain it to me is they find the energy or the heart of the furniture and then they like refinish it, they paint it, they reface it to really express the energy as it spoke to them of the energy of the furniture, and then they sell it, right? Or use it or they sell it. And I've met multiple people now who've done that, and it's incredible, including the piece that's behind me, this blue piece, which I bought off of Marketplace, which I fell in love with. But that's like, and it's funny because it's like, well, who thinks about doing that, right? And now you have, social media, you have all kinds of different places you can post that kind of stuff, and you can sell stuff like that pretty easily. And everybody I know who's doing it loves it, and it's like one of like 10 different things they're doing. And it's like you do a bunch of different things too.
Yeah, I do a few
So
other
every time I
things.
talk to you, it's like, oh, I've known you for a long time, and you still surprise me sometimes. Like, oh yeah, well then I have this, and then I have this, and it's like when we allow the abundance of possibilities, right? So let's talk about abundance of possibilities, right? When we allow ourselves to have multiple streams of income, when we allow ourselves to do different things that help us to embody our passions and our love and heart, and signature of who we are into different things, then of course the universe supports you, right?
Yes. And something I was just thinking about just now when you were saying that is when you open yourself to all possibilities. And I mean, anything, even far out stuff you never thought you could do. But also, sometimes you meet people and you judge them when you first meet them. You don't take the time to get to know them. And there's people that you think, oh, this, I don't want to have anything to do with this person. And it's amazing some of their stories. I do agree with not hanging out with negative people because I think that can really bring you down. But there's people that you might not think know anything or whatever. And if you just open your mind to all people, you learn some amazing things from people you thought you never would. You just be open to possibilities and people and everything. Do you agree
Well,
with
and
that,
I,
Andy?
I do, and that's part of like coming to that place of recognizing that the divine is in all of us, and we're just embodying
Yes.
these versions. So sometimes somebody might be brought into our reality that's there to just be a different reflection back to me about something that I might enjoy about myself, or just, in the presence of being here that I wouldn't have otherwise realized. And sometimes it's meeting somebody through somebody else, like, like somebody's a conduit, a connector, or whatever. And
Right.
so there's
Right.
all kinds. One of the best, one of the best movies that is so understated is the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey. Did you ever see that movie?
Yes, ma'am. Is that what you said?
Yes Man with Jim Carrey.
I don't think I have. I need to write that down.
Yeah, it's a great movie because and I know I've brought it up before on my podcast here, but it's a great movie because it talks about the energy of saying yes, right, and abundance of possibilities. And what is the energy of saying yes? Is allowing this abundance of possibilities.
Right.
So the movie, of course, is comedic, but the whole idea of this guy who was really negative and in the dumps and depressed, was talking to going to this self-help thing with, a friend, and this guru, like, he misinterpreted this guru saying you have to say yes to everything. So the whole, like, the joke is how he suddenly just said yes to everything, which caused some really comedic kind of situations. But then it started all to flow together, and he started to find his rhythm by just allowing that abundance of possibilities. So it's interesting because abundance is so many different things. And if we're limiting ourselves to say, I have to do this way, then maybe, like, sometimes it's better to step back and say, so if I allowed the abundance of possibility, what would that look like? Like, what would, if I allowed all possibility, what would that look like for me in the intention of creating my passionate life, right? My joyous life that I enjoy every minute, that I'm vibrant and want to get up every morning, and I wouldn't mind, going from, like, morning to night before I pass out cold because I'm so tired.
Yeah, but I still like to take care of myself and have a little fun too during the day. But yeah,
Well, it
no, I
doesn't help.
do.
It
Yeah,
always helps.
just like last night, I was at a open house and met all these wonderful other vendors and some couples and things, and then a couple of friends from a business group I joined 12 years ago when I moved here, way before I started this, came to see me, and it was great. I mean, they're doing different things, but when they knew me before, nobody thought I would do this. I mean, I've been in science for so long that you sort of think, well, she doesn't even know about that stuff, but it was the other part of my personality that came out, and it's something I felt since I was small that I wanted to work with spirit um, and energy, just imagination. Like when I was small, I used to love fairies, and I go out in the woods and I imagine all these things. And I think that was just opening myself to possibilities at a young age too, Angela.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're continuously changing and shifting and expanding, right? So
Yep.
part of, my reflection in your life is like, okay, and don't get comfortable here. Now what's next?
Oh, I know. I wish you'd leave me alone sometimes. What do you want to do now? I said, I can't do anything else.
Like allowing the possibility, right? Allowing the evolution.
Yeah.
And what I see that's just amazing, incredible in everyone is how it manifests in such an individual level when we do allow that kind of abundance. And funny enough is when we do allow, like, give ourselves that bandwidth to allow a possibility and creating, this kind of enjoyment in our life, then it doesn't become work anymore. Then it's not work. It's like, no, I love doing this and I can do this and I'm playing and I'm working, but it's all part of the same thing, and I feel nourished all the time, and I, whatever. Like, so in your case, you meet a lot of awesome, interesting people.
I do. To go back a little bit, we all have our problems. We all have issues. And Angela knows when I was 50, I had a child that was almost 8, and I lost my husband suddenly. So I inherited this business. I had a full-time job, and I had this child. But the first year I couldn't hardly think. But after that, I decided I'm going to do something different. So 4 years after this event, I moved back home with a leap of faith, knowing that I can make it. I just had to do it because my life, I felt like I'd stagnate and die at that place. I was in a small town, Goldsboro, and I moved back to Raleigh. And it really took a leap of faith, but I thought, I know I can do this. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know I can do it. And then here I am a few years later, and as happy as I've ever been in my life. So I'm very, very thankful that I did open my mind to possibilities. And then I met Angela and my other friend Veronica. So I've been working on spirit a long time, but they've really helped me push myself. And Angela kicked me out of the nest a few years back.
Well, yeah, because part of it is too like not letting the ego get us too comfortable because then we stop evolving, right? So it's like we continue to evolve, and yes, we have passions today that might evolve into something tomorrow. And it's the thing
That's
is to
right.
keep on that commitment for ourselves because it's like, yeah, I the way I look at it is this, what happens to people who get like basically a life sentence where the doctor says you have 3 months to live, right?
Right.
Many of will go and do the bucket list thing, or they're like, like
Right.
they'll they've always wanted to do. It's like, okay, so I've gotten sort of the guidance that this is probably gonna be my last life here like this, right? And after very many of them, so it's sort of the same thing. It's like, okay, so this is my last life. Hell, I'm gonna hit everything.
That's exactly right. That's how I feel. Every day I want to learn something new. It might be something small, but I feel like there's so much in this world I have not seen or have not done or thought about that I just don't. And then I think about my age. Sometimes I think, oh, I've only got maybe about 20 years to do this. I got to hurry up and get busy. So, normal. That's even a little bit older than some people, but that's definitely a pretty decent lifespan for a woman. I thought, boy, I got to get this going now.
And the thing is for us to not have to like wait for that, right? To say, I'm just gonna take every moment. I'm gonna saturate this,
Mhm.
whatever. Then if like say my moment is 5 minutes away, when it's time for me to go, I can say, all right, it was
Yeah,
a good time.
yeah,
I'm happy. There's no regrets, right?
yeah, yeah.
And that's
And
sort of, and it's when we get to that place is when we can, like, we get to that place when we can actually accept that kind of abundance of the universe is going to support me, right? And it's really a different kind of energy when we finally get to this place of, so what is somebody who's been given that death sentence on, right? Is like, oh, you're going to live a couple months. It's like, well, what's the deal? Because what we live in fear so much. Like, what if I die? What is like, so what? I'm gonna die in a couple months. Like, how do you know?
everybody's gonna die.
Everyone's gonna die. So, so it's like it's first getting past the fear of death, fear of like there's so many fears that we like lock ourselves down with, and we push abundance away because we're like, okay, what happens if I do this? Like, because then we like get caught in the what happens if, right? What happens if I do this? And then I lose all my money, or I lose my house, or I lose my relationship. And it's like, well, when we really let go of the things that we think define us outside of us, and we just say, I'm defining myself in this place of abundance, then it's just sort of like, okay, I figure it out. I'll figure it out. And I can't tell you how many times that comes out. It'll come together somehow. I'll figure it out, or we'll figure it out. It'll just, come together. And we stop saying, oh, but these are all the conditions. Like I have to have, this kind of job, this kind of house, this kind of, like 2.5 kids in the picket fence and blah, 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 to say, really, like I had somebody, and we gotta get cut this off, but I had somebody like, and I've had this multiple times, but I remember this one woman who came into me, and she had had such an exciting life, right? And somebody who's, I think she's 50-ish now, right? But she's like she had so many different things that she experienced. She lived in San Francisco for a while. She lived in multiple places. Yeah, she had some issues that came up and whatever. So much color and vibrance in her life, right? And she was moving here to there, and she was sort of like a nomad. And then she sort of had a shutdown for a while. She had some issues that went on personally, and then she she came home to where her family lived, which was this area, and she started looking at her sister, who was like a doctor and had the 2 point the marriage and the 2.5 kids in the picket fence, and she started like judging herself and saying, oh well, I'm not that, so I'm not good enough, right? Like I have a like I've lost out because I didn't do this, and I'm like, So did you ever really want that, or is it that you think you're supposed to want that because that's what everybody, praises, and your sister, or whatever, in your family? And when she finally did that work inside, she was like, "Oh yeah, well, really, I didn't want that." And I'm like, "Well,
That's
then,
right.
don't just." So like, sometimes we say, "Oh no, I have to do this because," and it's these expectations that we're not realizing are coming from outside of ourselves. If I look inside, we're like, I would rather travel than have like this house I have to maintain or whatever. I would rather do this than have to be trying to.
Amen.
So, so like that's the thing, is to really look inside, and like you're saying, it starts with looking inside and really getting to know who you are, and trusting that you are divinely worthy from the beginning at whatever you're guided to do and embody. From like, no matter how fun or silly it seems to be, if you do it with your heart, then the universe will follow, and the universe will support you. I there was a Did you ever read the book The Alchemist?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a great, easy parable kind of read for
Yeah.
people.
It is a good book for anybody to read.
And it's an easy read, and it's a whole thing, a parable about how when you know what you want, when you know what you want, the universe will conspire to support you to get it for you.
And the point you made, I think, is real important, that knowing that you deserve it. We're all connected to spirit. We're all part of God or the creator, whatever you want to call it. And we all deserve, I mean, there's so much in the universe out there. You're not taken away from anybody, just like Angela said. And you deserve it. Why not me? Well, you deserve it as much as anybody else. And the other thing is possessions, like houses and even relationships and stuff. You don't The only thing you control in your life is you. You don't control other people. You don't control the things you own. They're just part of your life that you're passing through. So instead of being so attached to these things outside yourself, really love yourself and know what you deserve. And then things come to you, and if they want to leave you, that's fine. Then that they can go. They're not your possession anyway.
Right.
Person, things, or whatever.
Right. And sometimes, and that even comes to, like, we were talking about death, right? So, because
Yep.
when you live that way, when you get to that moment, right, whatever that is, however that manifests, you could say, all right, time to go. I'm not attached to having to stay here. Excuse me. I know we're all connected all the time. I did everything, like with total abundance and saturation. And it was a, fabulous experience. And now it's time for the next fabulous experience. And obviously it's time to graduate from this body, kind of thing. And when we start to live that way, we allow all kinds of abundance, because then we stop living in fear and stop trying to avoid, like you're talking about, specific material things and things like that. And it's like so important for us to let go of our attachment. And it's not to not have anything, but it's to say, if I had to leave it tomorrow, would I be okay with that?
And
Yeah.
Angela, about a year ago, I had a pretty scary incident, and I had to just go on faith. And I won't get into it a whole lot, but I had a fast heart rate, AFib, and caused a stroke. And in 3 o'clock in the morning, the doctor's saying, "Well, we need to go into your brain and take this thing out." And I'm looking at him like, "Oh God," because 6 hours before I was totally normal. So I really just meditated and said, "Okay, I'm not ready to leave. I want to stay here. If I do leave, I'll be okay. That's not what I want, but I can let it go and just be thankful for the life I've had." And that's really how I felt. And everything went fine. And 3 days later, I went home with no symptoms. But it was really a challenge to let that fear go. But I just said, "Okay, I'm ready, but I don't want to go." But I knew that I would be okay, because I knew my spirit would still be around.
Or in other words, like, I would like to stay, but I don't have
Yeah,
to. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I really want to stay, but I said, okay, if I have to go, it's okay. But if you could let me stay. So
So, but and that's that fluidity, because that's how we truly let that abundance in. Is to say, whatever's in this moment, if I am totally saturated in it, then I can allow myself whatever presents itself, right?
yes,
And I can
yes,
go into the next moment in whatever form that looks. And that truly is abundance, because that is truly, like, an abundance and trust go hand in hand. you know.
Yes. There. Yep.
So and it is, and like they're like, and that's these are the places to start. So I hope that was, and like there's so much, and like so we totally tied it up in a little more than a half hour, but there's so much that goes beyond this. Like this is like the basics of all of it. Because there is a lot of work to do on worthiness, right? That we're worthy to have all this that we're talking
The
about.
number one thing.
Yes,
Thinking
totally.
you're worthy and loving yourself. The number one.
Loving ourselves and getting everything that we want to create, right?
Right.
That we can manifest it without having to suffer first, or that we have to prove ourselves, or whatever, because we're already innately worthy of
Right.
the body. Also, the trust of that the universe does provide when we allow ourselves to live in that place of passion and bliss. Not a egoic passion, like not egoic, like I have to have this or I'm gonna die, but this place of no, I want to. Like it's funny. I think like some people ask me, well, what's the difference? I'm like, well, egoic passion or egoic want have to do with like if I don't have this, I'm going to not be complete, right? That I have to have this to be complete or whatever. When we do it from a place of the heart, from the higher self, from bliss, it's I am emanating this, and I can't help but allowing myself to emanate this, right? That's a much different thing. And in doing that, I'm going to embody it in this creation. That's a much different energy and much more expansive than saying, no, I have to do it this way, or it has to be like this, or I can't be happy until this. And saying, well, I'm happy where I am now, and I'm going to embody that in everything that I create. And then it's incredible how that sort of just lays out magically for us.
Well, not putting constraints on your desires or your what you want to manifest, because as you know, it can come a different way than what you originally planned. And if you have an expectation and it doesn't fit there, then this didn't work. But you didn't open yourself up to, this is what I'd like to have it any way I can. And it may come to you a different way. And at first you think, oh, that's not what I wanted. Then you think, oh, that's even better than what I wanted.
Exactly.
So,
So many times that's happened. Yeah.
yes, yes. And really, honestly, not being so strict about what it is you want. Just being open for the universe, because the universe knows really more than we do in our thinking mind. Let's put it that way.
Or a higher self, or however you want to put it, right? So the
Yeah.
universe
Our higher self, knows more than our ego. Yes.
gets the whole picture. Yeah, absolutely. And really, if we change our focus to that, I commit myself to remembering and embodying, my ability, my passion, my bliss, then it just all will fall into place for us. Even if we don't know what that looks like, right? I mean, it just
Mhm.
continues to take shape and form. And however it serves this dimension, this set of dimensions in this moment is how it will embody. And if you just commit yourself to, okay, I can do all of this from bliss and fun and passion and joy, then I'm just going to let it embody it, like, and let myself embody it, however is going to serve the bigger picture. And then we just sort of let it go, even if it's just, being a garbage collector. You never know. Like, it doesn't have to be like any, so there's so many different things to do, right? There's so much art and so much beauty and so much love that we infuse in so many things that allow us to raise the vibration of the planet, and that's really where it comes from.
And I don't know if it's really pertinent or not, but to me, being around nature and even experiencing the arts, theater, whatever, is when my mind opens to more possibilities. If I'm out of the thinking ego mind, but I find that being in nature or being immersed in some type of art, reading, watching
Well,
a movie or whatever,
shutting down the thinking mind and listening to the higher self, which, can also be meditation.
yeah, and well, that's what I mean. I feel like when I go in nature, I'm meditating when I
Yeah.
start looking at things, and that's my point. It's just open yourself to possibilities, but there's ways to help you get to that point where you can open your spirit to possibilities, and that's what I found is helpful for me. In types of meditative music and guided meditations and things like that.
Oh Oh yeah, yeah. Everything, anything that helps you to shut that down, so that you can open to the higher consciousness.
Right, right.
Anyway, thank you. That was great. What a great topic, and there's so much that goes, like I said, from just this 35 minutes or so. And tell everybody before we get off where they can find you.
Okay. Ann McKenzie, I have a website, easy, AnnMcKenzie.net. That's my wedding website. Then I have OmniGirl, OMNIGIRL.net, and that's my spiritual website. And if you look on Facebook, you can find me. Instagram pretty much these days too. But no, I'm all over the place. But I would, if you want to talk to me about anything, I'm always happy to talk to you just to see if there's anything I can do for you. And
Yeah.
that's it pretty much.
And when Anne starts doing abundance workshops, we'll let you know.
When I start doing what?
Abundance workshops, we'll let you know.
I met a couple people last night, and I was doing monthly guided meditations. I haven't done it in a while. I've really got to do that because I meet people that are looking for that, and I need to get back on that part of it.
Well, yeah, whatever we're guided, right? All right,
Yeah.
everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank
Bye.
you. We'll see you next time. This is Angela Coulter signing off with this week's Living the Shift. Have a good one.
And thanks for having me. Bye bye.